And as Big Ben strikes 10, the exit poll is predicting a Labour landslide.
Sir Keir Starmer will become Prime Minister with a majority of around 170 seats.
The exit poll predicts that Labour will have captured 410 seats, adding 209. It suggests the Conservatives will have lost 241 MPs, landing
Bateman. What are you so fucking zany about?
I'm just a happy camper. Rocking and a-rolling.
Oh, brother, look. He presents himself as this harmless old codger, but inside.
But inside doesn't matter.
Inside, yes, inside. Believe it or not, Bryce, we're actually listening to you.
Come on, Bateman. What do you think?
Whatever.
This moronic idea was to order dry beers. I need a scotch.
Now, we can look forward again. Walk into the morning. The sunlight of hope. Pale at first, but getting stronger through the day. Shining once again on a country with the opportunity.
There are no more barriers to cross.
After 40 years.
All I have in common with the uncontrollable and the insane, the vicious and the evil, all the mayhem I have caused and my utter indifference toward it, I have now surpassed. My pain is constant and sharp, and I do not hope for a better world for anyone. In fact, I want my pain to be inflicted on others. I want no one to escape. But even after admitting this, there is no catharsis. My punishment continues to elude me, and I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing.
Newscum.
News, come.
It was bad. It was very bad. But the people defending the BBC can't even admit that it was bad. So I was reading The Guardian for my pains, and it was, Polly Toynbee.
Yeah.
She said, this is what she said about it: the shock resignation of the Director General, Tim Davie, and the head of news, Deborah Turness, make it look as if the BBC accepts that it does indeed suffer from serious and systemic bias. That's what it looks like to the untrained eye. The fact that the head of the whole organization and the head of the news specifically resigned would make you suspect that, but that's not what's going on. She said, it was indeed a bad mistake to splice together two bits of Trump's speech, but it needed a quick apology, not a decapitation. So she calls it a mistake, which it absolutely isn't a mistake. I mean, if you watch it, it's an edit. Like, you might not edit something, that could be a mistake, but to edit something, and the way that it's edited is they've taken two videos of the same event. They've taken the main video, which is the live feed that was on the big screen at the time of Trump, and then they've taken something from the crowd, professionally filmed, but within the crowd, so a camera further back. And they've taken those two videos and they've kept one single audio track, probably the live feed one, because it'll be the best sounding one. And so they've edited those two together, the two videos, so it looks like you're cutting from a close-up of Trump to far away from Trump, but you're actually cutting not only that, but through a lot of time as well. And then they've spliced the audio so it matches, and it matches within the middle of a sentence.
Yeah, so the editor this wasn't just a simple edit where the editor's like, oh, I've had too much, not enough coffee today.
He starts a sentence.
It's quite a sophisticated edit.
Yeah, he starts a clause. It's the end of a clause, and then the beginning of the second edit begins with "and." So it's seamless. It's like he's saying one sentence, and it looks seamless because it cuts from close up to far away, and it looks like it takes time to do that. I mean, particularly if you're not a great editor like me, it takes me for ages because I don't know all of the shortcuts on Premiere Pro. So it probably takes them less time for the people at the BBC, but it still takes time. and you have to think about it, and you think about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Surely.
And clearly they did it because they wanted it to make it look more like Trump was actively telling people to go down to the Capitol. And you know, and the funny thing is, like, there's all this talk about, okay, yeah, so that it was a mistake or it was bad, but that is what Trump wanted to do, isn't it? And it's like, well, if that is the case, then just show it. You don't have to edit it together, do you? If that's what you want to do. But I think that this is what Toynbee says. This is her argument for the BBC. The BBC shouldn't need defending when 12 million people watched the Celebrity Traitors final live. It's a pretty good argument, isn't it? I didn't watch it live. I did watch it, though. You were probably watching an old episode of Cracker at the time. Missing out, as always. You didn't watch Traitors, right?
I did, actually.
Oh, you did? Nah. It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I only watched the last 10 minutes of it.
Of the last one?
Well, yeah, it's hard to watch the whole thing. Like, it's a whole hour of sort of like pointless tension. So
you just wanted to see who won.
Dip in and out of it a little bit.
Well,
yeah.
I was really glad Alan Carr won because I love Alan Carr. And I was really glad that Stephen Fry was chucked out because I hate Stephen Fry. You want to talk about marginalised people in this country? It's people that don't like Stephen Fry. We are the most marginalised community. The Stephen Fry hating community. We get nothing from this country.
Why on earth would you hate Stephen Fry? What's he ever done to you?
Because he's so pompous, and he's got this like fake like warmth and fake politeness about him. And I was saying this to someone the other day, and they pointed out, well, you know, that he suffers from depression, and it's probably like a kind of defense mechanism for all of that. And I was like, yeah, he sucks, doesn't he? What a dick. And then we both cheered. And that made me feel bad because I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
Good.
That's probably true.
Be mean to people in society. The only people who should be mean to is if they're complete psycho.
Like Stephen Fry.
Mean.
But
Stephen Fry your limbs up in.
Alan Carr, what a great! I love Alan Carr so much.
He seems like a right psycho.
Alan Carr, are you out of your mind? What's wrong with Alan Carr?
I don't really mean that, but he was good at being deceptive, wasn't he?
Oh, he was forced into it. He was
Yeah,
playing the game. He was being a
playing the
good.
game. He saw it all just as one big game.
No, he's just being a good sport.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think if I was in Celebrity Traitors, first of all, I would be like, hey, I'm a celebrity.
Oh, you'd be so bad. You'd be so bad at celebrity.
Yeah, well,
firstly, because you're not a celebrity. So people would be like, who's this tosser?
Yeah, I'd be terrible. I'd have to pretend to be a celebrity the whole way through.
Yeah, that would be good. Celebrity Traitors, but you have to guess who's a
with
celebrity.
one guy,
There are
everyone's like,
three non-celebrities here. You have to guess which one is a non-celebrity because everybody's so sort of B-list. And then they have the round table and say, so have you been in anything? What have you done? No, I've not. Well, nor have you. Yeah, that's true, actually. They actually did get quite big celebrities for this one. But I imagine if they continue to do Celebrity Traitors, it will go down and down and down.
So, we watched the Celebrities Traitors final. But why were we on that again?
Oh, because the BBC. That's why the BBC
the
is good,
BBC.
because it has traitors, apparently.
Yeah, so Polly Toynbee was saying that, the BBC is great because of traitors. And that means that they shouldn't have got into trouble about the Trump edit.
Yeah.
I mean, I still got the impression, really, that it was the editor who was doing that. It's not like the BBC head, Tim Davie, was saying, make sure you edit that wrongly. So,
yeah, I know. And he's not like personally looking at every edit, is he? But I think there is...
It does seem...
The argument that the BBC are biased against Trump, I think, is a pretty good one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
And you can say, well, they should be, and that's fine. Then defend that position. But don't pretend. And this is the thing, right? And all the arguments, all of the arguments for the BBC, they can't just say the truth. Yes, the BBC is fundamentally against Trump as an institution. Politically, it doesn't like him, and it doesn't like what he's done with the Republican Party. Right? But they can't say that. No. They're not biased. That's what they say. The BBC are not biased. It's like they are biased, right? And it's like, even if
biased,
you think
everything's a fudge.
Even if you think that Trump is a serial liar, even possibly a sex offender involved in some sort of Epstein thing, you think he's a warmonger, you think he's corrupt, even if you think all of these things, that's still bias against him, isn't he? You know, you could, if you don't like what he's done as a person, and you are sort of focusing in on that, and you don't look at the problems of anybody else, say the Democrats, then that's a bias. It's a bias against Trump. I say you shouldn't like Trump, but I think this is the blurring. This is the problem. Like, the idea is that you shouldn't like Trump because he's a bad guy, and the BBC don't like Trump because he's a bad guy. So, but the BBC aren't biased because that's the right position, and this is what they can't get over. That doesn't matter.
It means that everything the BBC does is always a fudge, isn't it? They call it neutrality and objectivity, but actually it's just a massive fudge.
The problem is, like, it's bringing down everybody, you know, because there's some people I like at the BBC, like Clive Myrie. You know him? He's a really
newscaster. Yeah.
Well, yeah. What is he? He presents the news, right? That's what.
Yeah.
It says on his bloody thing, right? But he's also supposedly a journalist. That's his actual job, apparently. Yeah. But then at the same time, he also presents things like Mastermind. And I'm like, so is he a journalist, or is he just Noel Edmonds? You know, I'm like, what I think they should do is they should get Alan Carr to present the news. That would be. I mean, Alan Carr presents things, presenting the news, same thing, right? He's basically a journalist. Get Alan Carr up there. I think he'd be great. Yeah. Rachel Reeves.
He would always be having a giggle.
That Rachel Reeves. She's done it again. Some mothers do have them. The BBC are in trouble.
Clive Myrie is the guy who is in that anti-propaganda video, isn't he? That advertises the BBC. We will hunt you down and expose your lies.
Yeah. It's like fake news. We're coming for you. Right. We're coming for you, man. It's like
fake news. We're coming.
And they've embarrassed Clive Myrie, the BBC, because he does all of the fake news stuff now. All of their big, we're tough on fake news. And now the BBC have got found out, and I feel bad for Clive because I like him. He's a terrible journalist, but I like him as a person. Good man, bad journalist. But I like
give him a call. Yeah. You're like, look, I fucking hate your work.
Yeah, you're terrible.
Lovely,
you're a terrible.
You're a lovely bloke.
You should just stick to presenting Mastermind. You're good at that.
I love you on Mastermind.
I think you're great. Can we go to the pub? I hate you as a journalist.
God, we're almost at a point of writing a Morrissey song there. I love you on Mastermind. I hate you at the pub.
Little man, what now?
Your work is so bad, but I love you on Mastermind.
The problem is that he's black.
Throw you across that black leather chair and pound you for
black
15.
as your skin, which I don't like too much.
Do not malign Morrissey or anyone.
He maligns himself. How about that? Got 7 minutes of this cracking episode. Cracking. There you go.
Cracker.
Actually, I'll keep that in. That was good.
Because your mind is on the edit now. You're already being polluted. You're already like, oh God, I can make this a bit better. Why don't I do that?
The BBC have given me all sorts of ideas. Yeah. I'm going to have you starting an insurrection. I'm just going to mine the hours and hours of this podcast that I've got and just edit together you saying all sorts of things. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Just like Auntie Beeb.
But anyway.
So that was the main news of the week, wasn't it?
It's the main news. It's the biggest news.
The BBC.
People are saying the BBC's got to go. What do you think about that?
Well, they're always saying that. I mean, it is a lot of fucking campaign, isn't it? From from these motherfuckers on the right, really. They always want to get rid of the BBC. It's the press, isn't it? It's the tabloid. It's a right-wing press. And all
the BBC, it is an anomaly, though. I mean, there were lots of great things about the BBC. Clive Myrie, the list goes on. List goes on and on. No, but the problem with it is that this country is very, very small and actually very impoverished, despite lots of billionaires living here. And the BBC, because of its position, because of the money behind it, is just this massive sort of entity that dominates not just the news media, but everything. Like we've spoken a lot. I mean, I made that video about comedy and politics, and we've spoken about comedy and both. And anybody who's done stand up or wanted to become a writer of comedy or anything really in this country, you have to kind of get in with the BBC. You have to know people who are in the BBC, or try and work your way into those kind of groups, those kind of people, and the politics of the BBC spills out into that. So it kind of just dominates culturally, politically, everything that we do in this country. And because it has all this power and this money, it does do incredible things that no other network could do. For example, have you seen The Gold? There's a two-season series about the Brinks-Mat robberies back in the 60s. It's absolutely brilliant. It's as good as anything on HBO. Like the way that it looks, the acting, the script, absolutely. It's a great, great show. And I don't think you could get that really. I mean, maybe you used to be able to. I don't remember Brideshead Revisited, the OG series, which was on ITV back in the day. I mean, that's a long time ago. But I don't think you can't really see that sort of stuff on TV anymore. It's all just become so cheap and shit. Particularly as money is like leaked out of it into the internet. People are watching fucking shit like this, for example. Imagine watching this instead of watching Brideshead Revisited, one of the greatest shows of all time. And obviously the US. And the thing is, if the BBC were to go, and this is obviously what the right wing want, all of our media, TV would be completely dominated by the US. I mean, it basically already is, apart from the BBC. So I do appreciate it on that level. But then at the same time, the BBC is completely fucked in terms of politically where it is. Because because its political kind of understanding of the world comes out of the two major parties, which is both completely fucked. No, that is just not where the center ground is anymore. It's just not where popular opinion is. And so it's kind of obvious in a way that the BBC is going to continually get into these problems, right? Where it thinks it can just do something ridiculous like that to Donald Trump, talking about him inciting the insurrection or whatever, and just continue to get away with it because everybody hates Donald Trump. It's like, actually, no, a lot of people like Donald Trump. It's actually we're living in a very kind of confused time where people have lots of different opinions. People think some good things about Trump, some bad things. You can't just write everything off. Like Jeremy Corbyn, Donald Trump, all this shit, not important, not serious. Serious news is this, whatever the fuck we're talking about, which nobody cares about. Fucking Keir Starmer, That's the end of my. Oh, we've got Wait. Oh, well, I agree. 2 minutes left.
I agree, really. I mean, I think we'd all miss the BBC if it did go or if it was severely defunded. But I mean, there obviously are problems of being being hardline about being very mainstream, which is basically what the BBC seems to do all the time and probably has done since the 1920s, really.
It's going to have to change.
Well, they've been saying that, though, since the general strike of 1926.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
It didn't need to change then. That's the difference.
Well,
I think you don't understand. I've noticed this about you.
What did I say? Who did I say didn't understand something?
That's a good point. Nobody. But... Well played, Alfred.
I think you burnt down the orphanage.
Touche, Alfred. I will be back. And I just like.
Sorry, what do you think I don't understand?
Oh yeah, well, I guess you were sort of implying, or we were both implying, the BBC doesn't really get where the public is.
Yeah,
I guess I was saying that. I think you do more than them. To be fair to you, I'm coming down off my high horse. I've been shamed. I've been humbled by your comeback. But I think the change that is happening politically in this country and around Europe, the world, whatever, is insane. And the BBC have no idea what's going on, and they radically need to change if they're going to survive.
But in which direction? What do you think they need to do?
Both. Completely. It's the center ground is completely shifted. It has nothing to do. It's not that we've become incredibly far right, although we have. But look. So the main issues for the BBC are immigration and fucking Palestine. Right? They're the two biggest problems that the BBC are facing in terms of being able to speak to the people of this country. And they're both completely
because they don't really have a coherent editorial line on either of them.
Well, they do, but it's completely against what everybody thinks.
Well, yeah.
We've got less than a minute.
Is that the case with Palestine? Are they really?
Anybody who's engaged, yeah. I mean, anybody who's engaged.
Aren't we just a very divided society about immigration and about?
Nobody supports Israel. I mean, the people who tacitly do support Israel are on the far right, but they're much more concerned about immigration. Like, if they had a choice, where it's be like, blow up Israel, and we'll stop the boats.
We are back.
Sweet.
Talking about something really interesting there about the BBC. But do you just want a quick update on what's happening in my kitchen?
I would love that, but I think your audio is a bit weird. I don't want to say that. Just keep talking.
1 2 1 2. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's making a little audio sound on the.
Yeah, no, it's there. It's just it was sounding like it was cutting out every so often, but I don't think it is now. I think it's fine. Just go with this kitchen story.
It's not really a story, but I just wondered if anyone's out there, and because I thought that my washing machine had broken.
We all wonder if anybody's out there, Matt. It's the question from the dawn of time. Why have aliens not visited? Well, some people would say, Matt, that the reason is that we don't really understand the miracle of life. So for millions of years, there was single-cell organisms on this planet. And at some point, and we don't know when, those cells started to come together to form multi-cell organisms. And that's a miracle that science cannot reproduce in a lab. We do not understand how that happened. And we do not know how much time it takes for that to happen. So even though the universe is billions of years old, and there are planets older than the Earth, of course, and they've had billions of years to develop life, we don't actually know how much time it takes, and if there has actually been very much time at all, really, because you not only have to have quite a long time, talking millions, maybe billions of years, where you have single-cell organisms on a planet, and the planet is not disrupted by some sort of catastrophe. And then within that time, there has to be this miracle in which other life forms. Speaking of which, we do not know how the single-cell organisms evolved or how much time it takes for that in itself to emerge. So with all of these unknowns, it's really hard to say, oh, there should be millions of other life forms in our galaxy. Yes, there are billions of stars and trillions of planets, but we don't know how much time this takes. We do not know how rare life is. Does that answer your question?
Aliens come from under the sea on our own planet, Daniel. So you don't.
That sounds like you've been listening to
the
the Little Mermaid.
The
Little
other
Mermaid
point-
propaganda. You're
The
on
other
the
point
old
is
Little Mermaid, Buck.
My washing machine, which is I think 5 or 6 years old, doesn't do the normal cycle now. It ends with 1 minute to go and goes. Boom, 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 boom,
Sounds like
boom,
aliens to me.
for hours and hours at the end, and then floods. Sort of, doesn't drain the water.
Oh, shit.
But if I put it onto I just found out just then, if I put it onto a different type of wash, like just for jeans or delicates, it still seems to work. So should I spend good money on a new washing machine, just on the grounds that one of the main setting doesn't work.
Let's go.
Answers below, and also tune in to the podcast and click and like, subscribe, and go to my podcast, which is called Scourge of the Spin Machine. Go to my Substack and do all the other things that you're meant to do.
Let's go through. I think the audience, to make an educated,
has gone.
I guess, is to go through what are the different cycle options that you have. What is the one that you generally use, firstly, and that is not working?
I think it's called Quick Wash, but Quick Wash is like 2 hours and 40 minutes, so it never made any fucking sense to me. Quick Intensive, I think it's called.
Okay.
So I usually use that. That's 40 degrees, but you can put it up to 60, so it's quite versatile. But then all the other types of, and that one doesn't seem to work anymore.
Yes, we get that. We've established that. Move on. What's the next one?
Well, there's Jeans, there's Delicates, there's just Drain, there's just Spin, and there's Evoke Aliens from underneath the ocean.
That's unfortunate. You've got quite limited options there. I thought you might have something like Cotton or Daily. That you could...
Oh, there's a cotton one as well, but that's like 90 degrees or something.
Oh, then maybe that's not.
You know what I mean?
Maybe cotton's not the one I was thinking of. Mixed.
There's curtains. I can wash curtains. I can fucking wash my fucking curtains.
Is there actually curtains?
The owls come home.
Curtains is probably quite a good thing because it doesn't really matter what the name is, Matt. It's what the
it's just water going through some material.
So what you want is 40 degrees for a few hours. What's the best one for that?
Yeah, I don't even need it for a few hours. It's not like
does it give you spin cycle information? How many cycles?
It doesn't really give
capita.
That. You're a details man, aren't you, Daniel? Any details, please.
I just think
you should always be happy, Daniel, because you can get into anything, however pointless. I'm saying these things as throwaway remarks. In between,
why are you saying
political analysis?
This is what's really going on. Is you're trying to say that you're trying to sabotage the podcast. You're saying these things to be annoying. All right, okay. So why did you bring it up? Why did you bring up your fucking kitchen problem?
Because it's just a natural lull in conversation. I just happen to have come from the kitchen.
Firstly,
I've also put on, incidentally, everyone also put on a pie. If you'd like to know.
So what was that? What was that? This is not a natural lull in conversation. There's no need to add the pie. It's just outrageous behavior. All I can do is absorb these comments and try and make something happen. Engage. I can just engage with them. That's all I can do. Like an amazing podcast host. I just work with what I'm given, which is broken washing machines and pies. What kind of pie is it, Matt? Do tell.
All right. Okay. Ready? It's I didn't have any decent food, but I put in some old vegetables.
Can I just stop you there, Matt? So sorry to cut you off. What was the what the fuck was that?
That's a drum roll, isn't it?
Oh, it's like a keyboard. Okay. All right, drum roll.
Well, I couldn't make a drum because I had to hold it. It's a very, very cheesy vegetable pie with, and that's all it is, really.
And as a callback to a long time ago, which version of the supermarket brand thing is it? Is it the low tier, middle tier, or high tier?
I think it might be. I think all the vegetables
tell me
are
the name
frozen.
Tell me the name of the
From
supermarket.
Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's low tier. That's cool. I can tell you. I'll give you them. You tell me the
I don't remember
supermarket.
getting branded carrots before.
You tell me the supermarket, and I can give you the tier. That's what I can do. That's my thing.
I think it was Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's basic.
They look like they're a bit more colourful than basic.
Okay, so it was Sainsbury's just the normal mid tier, which doesn't have a name.
The mid tier, probably. Yeah.
So you got Sainsbury's Taste the Difference.
Oh no, it wasn't
mid-tier.
that. No, I wouldn't usually go. Wouldn't usually be that classy.
No.
And then lots of cheese. So that's what I'm making tonight.
So that's. Oh, you made the pie.
I'm making it.
Oh, that's cool. I thought you bought a frozen pie. You see, that's why I was.
No. I was slightly proud of myself.
So that's why you brought it.
Even my kids quite like the pies that I make. They don't like anything else I fucking cook.
So it's a cheese and carrot pie.
Yeah, and a few other vegetables in there as well. I think there's some broccoli and cabbage.
Yeah, exactly. So Epstein's back in the news.
Yeah, shit. That's the gift that keeps on. No, it doesn't. It's just not very nice.
Continue that thought.
Yeah. Well, they keep leaking out these little bits. I don't understand why. When's it all going to come out? When's all the 100,000 messages or whatever it is?
Yeah. So the emails that the Democrats have released these ones.
Yeah. Would you like a picture of Donald Trump in my kitchen with some ladies in bikinis?
So
yeah, but
what's crazy, right, is that this is a personal email between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff. That's one of them, anyways. They've released like
the journalist with
random
White House access. Yeah,
random like one-off mid conversation. You know, this wasn't like, hello, Michael Wolff, I've never contacted you before. Someone gave me your email address, and now I am sending you an email. My name is Jeffrey Epstein. How are you doing? This is like in the middle. They've been friends for years, obviously, with long email threads going. And they've released this one. Where did they get it? They don't say. They don't know where they got this one email from.
It's
one random other email.
Committee?
Sorry,
is it a select committee in the United States?
Did this come from that as well?
Because I think it's all coming from that. But they keep putting it out in dribs and drabs.
No, they're not putting it out in drips and drabs. The select committee are deciding what they think is important stuff to put out. So the power that this committee has, because presumably they can ask for anything. And I don't know where they were like, you know what we really need? We need like one email between Jeffrey Epstein and Michael Wolff mid-conversation in about 2015. That'll solve it all. We just get, is that what is this?
But it's obvious what it is. It's the Democrat Party are taking these isolated things, probably because there might not be anything in it that really gets Donald Trump. But if they keep it in the news for 6 months, then
the people involved in the Senate committee, from what my understanding, are Trump appointees.
I don't.
And some of the stuff that's come out before has been damaging to Democrats. So I don't, unless I mean, heaven forbid, imagine that actually they're not biased, this committee, and they're actually just putting out random shit. The point is, though, they're in an incredibly powerful position where there is obviously dirt on a lot of powerful people around the world, and they can kind of decide which bits of that information are going to be leaked. The Democrats are pushing massively for the whole thing to be released officially. That's what they're saying. And I keep reading, I don't really understand it, because it's about like the number of votes that you need to get in the Senate or whatever. But they like keep saying that, someone else is coming forward and they've almost got enough numbers, and they're always just on the cusp of having enough numbers, and maybe they are, and maybe in a few weeks they will be able to vote to say that we do want the whole thing released. I don't know what will happen at that point.
Well, that might be the other reason for them to keep teasing it, is to try and get the numbers up.
They're not the same people on that. This is a problem. This is because you're a complete conspiracist fantasist. That's the problem with you. It's like they're not in cahoots. These are different. The Democratic Party wants to get enough people to vote through so they can release it all. The Senate committee is not part of that. So they're not like. Now you're saying they're working together without any evidence because you're mad conspiracy nut job, aren't you, Matt?
Although the difference between me and a mad conspiracy nut job is that as soon as you gave me the information on that, I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's you'll never be one of us, Matt. You've got to double down.
Sorry.
You got to double down. That's.
Oh, and I'll check that later. I'll check the information on that later.
No, you won't. You may not be a conspiracy nut job, but you are lazy.
That's why I'm not.
You are lazy, Matt, and you will not check.
I know that is true. Yeah. I'll be too busy making my pie. I'll be chopping it up.
Exactly. I mean, why waste your time on this nonsense? You know, just enjoy a good pie. You know.
What are the implications? Why do you care? What's the big deal for you about this very long-running rumbling on case?
It would help explain some of how the world works, right? In a way that we don't fully understand. Well, I say it would help. I don't know if they'll ever all be released, and if it is all released, whether that, I don't know, be redacted or... But there is some sort of... I mean, there's this big sort of hope, isn't there, that something is going to happen like this, like the release of the Epstein files, that is going to change the world somehow, which I don't think is going to happen. But it still could be marginally interesting. The main thing, I think, for me, for a long time, it's about personal vendettas and seeing people I don't like fail and
who don't you like that you want to see fail?
Stephen Fry, that was a good one this year. Tick that off the list.
You're hoping that he's going to be in the Epstein emails.
He's already failed. I don't care anymore. He's done. He got voted off traitors. Even though he was whatever, I was going to say a loyalist. They should make it more political. He's a faithful. He was a faithful, and he got voted off. So fuck him. No, but I guess Rachel Reeves. I really hope Rachel Reeves goes. I'm a bit worried now that Starmer might go before Reeves, and so I'm sort of found myself in a bizarre position of actually rooting for Starmer to stay, so we can get rid of Reeves first, because that would be sweet. Because if you get rid of Starmer, then Reeves is just collateral, and it doesn't really matter. But you want Reeves to go, hopefully. And I still think it's more likely that she's going to go after the budget, and then Starmer will go sometime next year. I don't know, but look, this week, like Starmer was a bit more looked like he was going to go. I think he's clawed it back. To be honest, I think it was muchness of muchness. He was never likely to go, but people sort of wanting this drama that he might go, which he will, but just not now, not soon. And I guess with the Epstein stuff, I guess it's the same thing. Like, it'd be good to see Trump get in a lot of trouble with that. That would be very funny. And it would be good to see Bill Clinton get his comeuppance if he's still even cognitive and knows what the fuck's going on, or even alive. I don't even know anymore. And who else? The more the merrier. It'd be great to see them all. Barack Obama, fucking hell, it'd be good to wipe the smug grin off that face, wouldn't it, Matt?
Yeah, I didn't realize that your hatred was so bipartisan and specific.
Yeah, no, it's bipartisan and specific. Exactly. It's very. As Trump said, there are good guys and bad guys on both sides. Or whatever he said.
Isn't the main point about the Epstein thing that's not really being talked about is that there are massive is the Mossad link, and whether Epstein was an agent and all that, and all of this sort of drip feeding of like celebrity style names and things like that.
It's not celebrity style, is it? It's the most important politician.
Well, Donald Trump was a celebrity at the time. He was a fucking celebrity at the time.
Yes, but you have to ask yourself, how does a celebrity like that become president? And it often involves the meeting with these kinds of people.
Yeah. So that's a question again, isn't it, about Israeli intelligence and all that kind of thing? To what extent? And there has been more credible reports, I think, over the last few weeks about Epstein.
Well, one of the big things, there's so many things, but I can't remember if it was the main woman, the one who died recently under suspicious circumstances, one of the
Virginia Giuffre
prominent victims. Yeah, I can't remember if it was her, but talking about an Israeli prime minister at some point. I don't think it is Netanyahu, but I think it was previous prime minister. I can't say on YouTube, but you know what I mean, being involved with one of the victims, and it's like, it's some of the stuff that could possibly come out is on personal level for like some powerful people. It's incredibly damaging, but I take your point. The more interesting thing is how it generally works as a sort of network of power and leverage for places like Israel.
Well, as I understand it as well, Donald Trump, Virginia Giuffre specifically said that Donald Trump was just nice to her and there was no problem whatsoever. Now, who knows what she might have been going through that poor woman's head.
No, but I know, but that's...
there are threads of stories here that could well end up just being dead ends. Whereas the... well, not whereas, but, the same thing as the Mossad thing. I don't know, it could be a dead end.
I don't think that's a dead end.
I think you're probably right, yeah. But I'm just saying...
Yes,
but I think in any big story, like any big dramatic and emotional
that, but
story,
that doesn't. That's why it'd be good to know. I mean, yes, obviously Trump could be entirely innocent. I doubt that. I think maybe he wasn't directly involved with her, but he met Epstein numerous times when she wasn't around. It's like they've got a relationship going back decades. Yeah, he might be innocent, but who? I mean, that's the thing. There's two things, and they're obviously related. Like, personally, who is involved and what have they done? But also, because of that, I mean, this is something that's said in the email, is that they're talking about Donald Trump. He's running for president, and they said, oh, he's likely to be asked about his relationship with, this is Michael Wolff or whatever, to Epstein. Yeah. Trump is going to be asked about his relationship to you or with you, right? In this upcoming presidential Fox News blah blah thing that they did, panel, and he's like, what do you think about that? Or what? Well, actually, I think Epstein said, imagine if I had Donald Trump's ear and could advise him, what would I say in that crazy, wacky scenario? What do you think would be a good thing to say? So he's asking for advice with the implication that he can then advise Trump on it. And then Wolf's like, well, if he says you're a great guy, good. If he tries to drop you in it, then you can deny it, and he says something about, if Trump, he says, like, if Trump plays ball or whatever, then he can be in your debt. Something like that. He uses
none of the people involved sound like the nicest kind of people.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's this thing about being in debt.
Or the most reliable testimony.
No, but this
from
is
any of the people involved in this.
Well, this is not testimony, is it? This is people sending private emails to each other.
Yeah.
So he's saying that Trump could be in your debt, if he plays it the right way, and that's the whole thing about the whole shebang, isn't it? That to ingratiate yourselves with these powerful people, you have to do certain things that will put you in debt.
But didn't Michael Wolff wrote a massive insider account of the Trump administration that was about 500 pages long. Did he say anything about that?
No, of course he didn't. Why would he?
Because it'd be part of his story, shouldn't he?
No, because he doesn't want it to come out.
Michael Wolff, the journalist, doesn't want that story to come out, even though he would break it. Why would he not want that to come out?
Because, well, that's what was implicated in the emails, isn't he? They're talking about what Jeffrey Epstein should do with Donald Trump, and he's giving it advice on it. He's colluding in whatever this weird thing is.
What, the journalist, Michael Wolff? So you say Michael Wolff is sort of like done the wrong thing, basically, and so doesn't want any of that to come out.
I don't know, but it's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no one exactly seems very reliable in this whole scenario.
I know, but you're just assuming that. Oh well, Michael Wolff, he's a journalist, so he would just tell you the truth in his book. So well, maybe not.
Yeah, but I suppose I'm also saying that, and if he doesn't,
I'm a little bit confused. I'm confusing the emails now. I'm not sure if that was the one with Michael Wolff. I think it was. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. It's all got too deep for Newscum. It's too granular. We need to talk about.
Yeah, I'm not a details man. I want to be a details man. I want to be a details guy, but
yeah,
it's too much for me. Should we get back to the BBC?
Sure.
Cool. So I just want to read you this from The New World. I've never heard of this. Again, showing my ignorance. I should probably know this publication. Do you know it?
Never heard of it.
Anyway, James Ball, who writes for The Guardian and other stuff, he wrote, she's talking about the guy, Michael Prescott. So he's got this, like, really, he thinks it's a really great argument. So Michael Prescott picked up that the BBC documentary had been doctored, the footage of Trump. And James Ball notes that in Michael Prescott's briefing and in, like, his thing that he sent to the BBC complaining about this, he'd also doctored Trump. And so he's like, you see, look, even this guy's done it. Which is quite a good argument, except for he also wants to say that the original doctoring was not a big deal. So it kind of it kind of counteracts each other. He's like, look, it's terrible that Michael Prescott has doctored his quotes of Trump as well, but also the original one that he was complaining about isn't a big problem, but the new one is a problem, but the original one isn't. Anyway, he says exclusive, Michael Prescott himself doctored Trump quote in his anti-BBC report. A report alleging Panorama broadcast misleading Trump quotes contains misleading quotes itself. Just goes on and on. The man who spoke...
Does it ever end?
No. That's why Newscum's so great. We'll do this forever. It never ends. The man who Newscum, it never ends. The man who sparked chaos at the BBC by criticising Panorama's misleading, he puts in quotations, edit of a Donald Trump speech also doctored Trump's quotes himself in his controversial report, making them seem far more benign than they actually were. Prescott's dossier accused Panorama of splicing together quotes in such a way that viewers were materially misled. That's also in quotation marks. He wrote that by editing portions of his speech together, the show made it seem like Trump had incited the Capitol riots at his infamous speech on January 6, 2021. Something that multiple investigations have found Trump did in fact do. That's what he claims. No link, by the way. He writes multiple investigations, no hyperlink to anything that he's talking about. I don't know what investigations he means, because if he's talking about the the impeachment over that, right? Then Trump was cleared, and you can say, oh well, that's on a technicality because they couldn't get the votes because you need like whatever it's 2/3 majority in the Senate, so technically, Trump was able to get out of that. It's like, yes, okay, but also technically, why was he impeached in the first place, right? Like, you can't fall back on like, well, all of these investigations have found out, that he was involved in January 6th. You can't say that, but then ignore the actual full finding of that, which he was cleared of it. You're talking about like sort of cherry picking, like, what he wants to this is what the point I was making in the first half was what he wants to say is what the BBC wants to say is that he doesn't like Trump and he thinks that Trump incited violence on January 6th, and that's fine. But don't pretend like you're standing on some sort of technocratic, like it's not my view. This is the establishment. No, it isn't. Right? He was impeached and he was cleared. Right? Same with the indictment. Yeah, there was indictment for similar charges. And again, that has been dropped. So it's like, on the one hand, and why have they argue, well, the reason that these things fell apart was because, the Republicans have the whatever it's called, Supreme Overlord Senate. No, I'm talking about the judges, whatever, all that stuff.
Oh,
right?
Have the Supreme Court, yeah.
Yeah. And then, but, at the same time, the Republican argument is, yes, but the reason he's being impeached all the time and indicted is because the Democrats are, and some of the mainstream media are, and the CIA, in fact, are putting together kind of bullshit. Like, you want to talk about the impeachments? The first impeachment was on fucking Russiagate. So, like, whatever you think of the seriousness of the second impeachment, you have to weigh up the fact that the first one was a complete load of bollocks. And it's like, clearly had it in for Trump. They wanted to impeach him on something. And
I wonder if...
Yes.
I wonder if
that's going to be edited out. It's going to be
I wonder if there's a major problem with the BBC, which is kind of an exaggeration of a problem with journalism in general, is that they say things like we are completely objective. I think was it Andrew Marr who said something like when I was recruited to the BBC, I am
just a fact robot. That's
my
Andrew Marr. Welcome to like Andrew Marr show. I'm leaking. I'm falling over. Andrew Marr.
I left my bias glands at the door or something like that.
They've weird extracted phrase. My bias glands. I have no more glands. But
they always say something.
Please play with my glands. Thank you.
I guess they all go through the same training and they're all acculturated in the same way. And so they all believe that they're not biased. And that, I wonder if that is something fundamental that could change. And there might be a fashion change towards that. And it might be a good thing that over the coming years, journalists will actually say, look, I've got this kind of emotional association with this, like sort of generally think, and they're all upfront about it. I've got this bias. I voted like this. I kind of think this.
Nah.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a good idea. I like it, Matt. I like it a lot. Unlike you, but no. The thing is, I think what has to happen is there has to be a sort of change in culture at the top of the BBC. And kind of what you're seeing in the US with Trump's second term and a sort of change in at least the right-wing media there, and to some extent the left-wing media. But obviously we in the UK have this fucking monolith, the BBC, and there's going to be a change in that. And I think the fight is going to... this is what I don't like about sort of Polly Toynbee and stuff like that, is defending the BBC. It's too late for that, right? The fight is, what is it going to become? Is it just going to become like GB News, right? Which it could, like, they're like, it could never be like GB News because it only reports the facts. It's like bullshit, right? It could become exactly like GB News, right? Particularly if you've got a reform supermajority for 50 years. Right, well, is the BBC still going to be talking about fucking, doctoring Trump or whatever? Like, it could, but, and I think it's the same generally across Europe, and like there is a sort of institutional crisis, right, politically, in terms of, what the sort of mainstream opinion is, what the sort of scientific opinion should be on stuff, how these things should work, how universities should function politically, right? And there is a struggle there, and I think sort of centrist position is that it was correct 20 years ago. It's still correct. And any attack on that is bullshit. And they're just getting kind of more and more isolated. And I think eventually that, they'll be usurped by something else. And the fight, that's, to some degree, you can see it's already happening, right? Mandani and, my brain is, I was going to say Paul Greengrass.
Paul Greengrass, the film director. Mandani is the new mayor of New York, for all you fuckers out there.
Thank you. But I didn't mean Paul Greengrass. And when I had Paul Greengrass in my mind, I was thinking of Greengrass from Heartbeat. Do you remember Heartbeat?
Right. Yeah, so you probably got Cracker at the back of your mind.
That's where I am, but actually I meant was Polanski. So that's how far away I was from who I meant.
Oh, Green Man Polanski. So for
Green
all you
Party,
Americans
that's where
out
it must have been.
The new head of the Green Party in Britain has surged with a massive poll development for Zach Polanski.
Zach Polanski, Greengrass.
Quite a sort of socialist figure.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well, for the sake of the American audience.
No, because they think Mandani, he's a socialist as well. See, the problem with these people are basically Mandani and Paul Greengrass, as he's known in some circles.
The director of
they're basically what Starmer promised to be when he was running for leader of Labour, and it's a lot better than what Starmer has become, but it's a long way from, say, what Corbyn was offering and stuff, right? Like the really interesting stuff with Corbyn was like the periphery stuff about tax havens, anti-nuclear weapon stuff, the foreign policy in general. You're getting none of that, right? I mean, Polanski is pro-Ukraine, to the hill. It's all very well that we'll have, fucking renewable energy in this country. We'll all be dead in the fucking trenches of Eastern Europe, dragged into some sort of war with NATO. But so I think there is this is like this is sort of new progressive center is where they are, and I think that's where the BBC's at least got to move there, and I think it'd be interesting to see.
But how can they move to the progressive centre, like with Zach Polanski, at the same time as the country lurches off to Reform, which has got 6 seats, but about to take government in the next election?
They can, because there is actually the interesting thing about Reform is economically they're actually a lot closer to Polanski. The Green Party and Reform are actually are as close economically as, say, the Tories and Labour are. And that's where the real fight is, right? They don't really care about the other stuff. I mean, it's linked. Obviously, Ukraine, the giving of money to Ukraine, Ukraine then buying weapons. That is all sort of part of the sort of economic package that we live under, right? And that would sort of have to be dismantled, I think, if you were going to have a different way of running the economy in this country. But I've lost my trail of thought. Paul Greengrass. What films did he make?
The first Bourne film.
I feel like okay. Maybe if we get onto Paul Greengrass films, that'll take me back to where I need to be. First Bourne film. That's about.
He did one about a documentary about 9/11 from 7 different perspectives, including one from Ken Loach, I think.
I haven't seen that. That sounds great.
Can't remember what else he's done. Paul Greengrass. Oh, he did Green Zone, set in Iraq in 2013.
Wasn't
I
a big
think.
fan of that.
No, 2009. It wasn't great, no. And yeah.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
so the Green Zone, more green grass.
yeah.
That's I'm desperate here, Matt. That's something. That's a link.
Yeah. Yes.
We've got 6 minutes left.
He was a director with the word green in his name,
and he made a film called Green
with
Zone.
the word green.
And Zach Polanski is head of the Green Party. Hey, Epstein, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's really going on, Matt? But yeah, I think so that for there to be some kind of big change in how the country works economically, which both Reform and the Green Party will have to do to some extent, it will have to move away from the Labour-Tory consensus. I think that's where the BBC are, and that's where the Guardian are at the moment.
It's going to have to be a green BBC is going to have to reflect a green reform consensus.
Well,
hey,
I mean,
did you see
the right wing and the Green Party are in alliance? I think in Germany. I mean, the thing is, the Green Party is actually the perfect. I mean, all of this comes from, and in this country, it's very clear where when it happened. It was the Brexit vote, right? But you can't blame it on the Brexit vote because it's something that's happening internationally. But there has been a complete. So what the Brexit vote showed was that there was like these two massive blocks, these massive demographics, that voting blocks, that within the traditional party structure were split in two. So you've basically got 50% of the Labour Party, of Labour voters up north voting Leave, and you've got 50% of Conservative voters down south voting Leave, and then you've got 50% of Conservative voters voting Remain, and you've got 50% of like urban liberal Labour voters voting Remain, and they actually have a lot politically in common to actually form a political party and actually win elections with much bigger landslides than the main two parties. And that's what Reform has done. Reform has united that Tory base and Labour base, the Leave, right? And what the Green Party are doing is they're consolidating the Remain vote, and they're getting the urban centres with the libtards, and then they're getting like the kind of more kind of affluent liberal greeny people who hate reform and like immigrants and stuff, and they're going to merge.
So where's the overlap then between those two parties? I think they're natural enemies, really.
One is one is Leave and one is Remain, right? But what they're fighting over is a different focus to what the Labour and Tory party are fighting over. Yeah, there's more of like a cultural divide with those, whereas it's like the cultural divide. Like you look at the cultural divide of Reform, it's like working class, often sort of unemployed, semi-employed, or self-employed people in towns that the actual main economy of that town has been destroyed, and then it's sort of like wealthy, business people in the city, right? Like sort of classic sort of rich Tory voters, right? So like culturally, they're in some ways completely different. If you want to go sort of like traditional class analysis and even sort of values. But then there's like the other stuff, like the immigration stuff, where they see eye to eye, and then like patriotism and stuff like that. And so and then it's the same with the Green Party, right? You can have like the sort of liberal metrosexual elite sort of like living in the city, young, don't want a family, claim they don't want a family, but actually just can't afford it. Like they thought they didn't want a family, and then they got old and like, I actually do want a family. It's actually fucking hell, I'm got any money. I can't have a family, but I'll pretend I don't want a family. And then this is not me speaking, obviously. I'm talking about other people.
No,
and I wouldn't know anything about that myself. I've made all the right decisions in life.
Exactly, you've done brilliantly. Well done.
Well done. Didn't sound patronising. That was a little bit Stephen Fry coming out there, and then. And then it's those people in the city, and then the people that they hate, who like live in the fucking home counties. I don't know what they're like. I just hate them. The home counties people. Listen to Radio 3, whatever.
Oh, wow.
They're just dickheads. And then I think those people also have started to come around to Palestine. That's the crazy thing.
Right. Why is that?
Why is that? I guess because the stuff has been so fucking shocking that's been on the news. But but obviously Israel generally had like a broad kind of support. It had like hard right-wing support, but it also had like a sort of middle-class liberal support. But that's all vanished.
What about there was still support being expressed for Israel, I noticed this week on trigonometry, where they actually had Dave Smith, the guy who I agree with everything on.
We've only got 1 minute 20. I would love to hear about this.
Interviewed Dave
in the
Smith,
next part. Would you like to
Constantine.
talk about it in the next part?
Well, I do need to go and turn off the oven, and I've not washed up for several weeks.
Well, we haven't done comments.
Okay, but it's going to be another long one, and the audience doesn't like that.
I don't think so. The last one was only about 120 because we fucked about for the first. I don't know how long the first. Look, I'll have a look right now. How long? No, I can't check actually.
We'll be back, everyone. You want to see this pie?
Remember, Matt, you have to say, "And we're back." I need a microphone.
And we're back. Welcome to Complaints on a Plate site, which is also the home for the Newscum.
Home of Newscum.
Would you like to see this vegetable pie? Because it's really hurting my hand. So we need to do it now or not at all.
You have to do a drum roll. With the hat. That looks very good.
Pretty good, isn't it? I'm not a good cook, but I've been getting into my pies.
Oh, well, I mean, you just need a thing. You might not be the best at cooking everything, but if you can cook a good pie, that's all you need, right?
Exactly. Fuck them. Anyway, Constantine and Francis Foster
Quentin Crisp
on Trigonometry interviewed Dave Smith. Dave Smith, for all you guys out there, is not an English bloke from down a pub. He's an American bloke.
So I don't know why you're doing that.
Because Dave Smith sounds like an English name, doesn't it?
Yeah, because English people have inherently boring names. I'm talking about your name's actually quite good. I quite like your name.
My name's boring as shit.
No, Alfred's not boring. It sounds like it's close to a lot of boring names, but it's not. It's quite rare. Like Alfred, it's like its own little twist on the Fud. Dan Taylor is terrible.
Oh yeah, it should be Dave Smith and Dan Taylor talk about Palestine.
But Americans always have really cool names because they've always someone in their families from Poland or Germany.
Chip Baker III.
Yeah, so it's always Dan or something, but then the surname is Wachakamakachaka, and it's so
Dan What's it McCalled.
Yeah, it's so cool.
The third.
America's
Junior.
So cool. Love America, man. Oh man, I wish I was in America right now.
Yeah, me too. It's raining outside. Really.
So anyway.
So I don't know. You haven't seen it, but I'll just tell you about it anyway. So they interviewed Dave Smith, and I think that's really kind of a clash of quite interesting people to talk
certainly
about.
One interesting person on there,
yeah. You mean you like Constantine, don't you?
You know it. You know me.
You disagree with him.
I love that guy. I love to disagree with him.
But yeah, they're still very much beating the drum for Israel, and. But like you say, there's whole demographic, whole population has turned against Israel in Britain and elsewhere. But they're still on that one.
Well, because the far right are still on it, and they're very much in league with their thinking on these things, as is Tommy Robinson. I mean, this is the thing, and Tommy Robinson is very popular in this country, but it's not because of his support of Israel, right? That's not.
No.
But that is a key component to his political idea of the world.
And funding, as I understand it.
Yes, and funding, yeah. Most of. I mean, it's just naturally where he is. But he also happens to get a lot of money from Israel,
I think the thing of trigonometry have not seemed to change on this. I do understand why they keep saying things like, we need...
No, you're trying to think about it logically. They're just fucking blindsided. They have to support Israel. They will support Israel. They'll go down with the ship. But you're like, I wonder why trigonometry haven't seen that Israel have committed a genocide. You're not going to find a reason.
Okay. What do you want to know about it, if anything? Or should we just go on to comments?
Oh, sorry. I would like maybe a comeback on that. Or am I right? Or do you think I'm right? Or
I'm not sure, like, if people wed them. I mean, I guess there are identity reasons why people would wed themselves to a particular group. I'm not sure that Constantine Kissin and Francis Foster do that. I mean, I think Francis has got, because I don't think that they've got particular ties to Israel. I don't think either of them are Jewish. I might be wrong, but I think what's happened is that
isn't Constantine
is I think Russian. And I think that Francis, came from Venezuela and was a part of the kind of persecuted, wealthy class of Venezuela. Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, I've got a doorbell.
Is Quentin Crisp Jewish?
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, sorry, I'm just on a podcast and Daniel's made it go on for ages.
He said, I'm on a podcast and Dan has made me go on for ages.
Look at this lovely pie that I've made there. Vegetables with extra cheese.
Constantine Kissin is of mixed heritage, and while he is not Jewish by religion, he has Jewish ancestry through his grandfather. Kissin Hello?
So I guess the point is, I think that there are people who support Israel who might not do it really for identitarian reasons so much as, well, we need to keep the Western Empire strong, sort of thing.
That's what I mean.
There's quite a lot of that still goes on.
That's what I mean. Yeah. We're in agreement. By the way, this is according to Google AI. He's of mixed heritage, and while he is not Jewish by religion, he has Jewish ancestry through his grandfather. I mean, I also think it's a bit of a misnomer. It doesn't really matter if he's Jewish or not.
No, I think Dave Smith's
what I'm saying
Jewish,
is that he's politically aligned with a project which is very heavily involved in Israel.
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying, which may be a subtle difference, is that I think people defend the Western Empire because often the argument is, well, if we don't do it and be really violent, then the Chinese will do it, or the Russians will do it, or
which is
whatever.
True, by the way.
So, who would you prefer to have run the world, the Americans or the world? I mean, this argument goes on forever and fucking day.
Alan Carr.
But that's basically where the trigonometry people are with everything. They're like, yeah, well, of course, there have been mistakes that have been made by Israel, but, we've kind of got to support them because else we're going to be overrun by such and such and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but that's a different argument, isn't it? I mean, it feeds into, America needs to dominate. Because who else would you want in charge too? And that's the problem. It goes down, and obviously I don't agree with that, but I can see that argument, right? But then that drifts down into, well, you got to turn a blind eye when Israel commits genocide. It's like, not really. Even if Israel, I mean, the problem, and this is what Professor Jang, predictive history, will talk about, is that the problem is that part of the world is central for trade, right? Because that's you control the passage through to Europe, right? The sea passage. So, it's really about the sort of who controls politically that area, and therefore who benefits financially, right?
Well, I think that's right, but I agree with that.
So this is where it gets a bit murky.
Assessment systematically, but what I think we were discussing is what are the motivations psychologically for people supporting a very unpopular, what has now become a very unpopular thing.
They would be like, ideologically, we want the US to be dominant in the world because we believe in their values and whatnot. And
and the alternative is some kind of socialisty, Islamic-y,
right?
Brutality, takeover, lunatic, fucking.
I think the interesting
infidel,
idea that they maybe haven't considered is that it's not
a binary.
It's not a binary.
That's the I think.
The people working in, the billionaire tech people who are working in the US with Chinese factories and stuff aren't thinking about it in the same way as
absolutely,
this fucking comments. Oh yeah, one thing I want to say, those highly observant among you may have noticed that this channel has been monetized.
Oh yes,
you might have seen an advert. Now I know that I pledged recently, probably, that we would never monetize this channel. And the reason I said that was because it was getting money from Israel. Clearly, the Israel organizations were giving money to YouTube because there was lots of pro-Israeli adverts that were placed on there. And everybody on... And what I quite like about this is that everybody on YouTube who is monetized, which is just about every other channel of consequence. We're a channel of consequence, obviously. We're amongst them, but we just weren't monetized until now. But they were all getting money from Israel. So really, they were being hypocritical, Matt, and there's nothing worse than... Tell me something worse than hypocrisy, Matt. There's nothing. No. Don't even think about it. Don't waste your time.
But we're not getting money from Israel.
But we are now.
Are we?
Well,
this is the thing that people don't understand, though. If you take money from a country that is abusing human rights, then you're taking money away from them, and then you're putting it into something useful.
No, it's terrible.
Like my pies.
No,
my TV.
It doesn't, because we're not stealing money. We're being paid by them. It's not the same. It's not like you're saying like if you're a gangster, you know, it's like, oh, well, the gangsters were paying me, so they had less money. So obviously I'm a good guy. It doesn't really make sense.
I always take money from gangsters and like.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein paid me loads of money, and then he had less. So I'm the real hero.
Way less money. You wouldn't believe the amount of money that Jeffrey Epstein paid me. Fucking hell, he must have been poor after that. I've done this country a favor.
Anyway, that was the official reason why we weren't doing, why I didn't monetize the channel. There were two schools of thought. There was that, or that I couldn't be asked to do it. And it was a big palaver, and we wouldn't make much money from it anyway. But then I convinced myself, and I think you sort of convinced me as well, that maybe YouTube is more likely to promote videos that are monetized because it makes money from them. Whereas if you're not monetized, why would it promote your video? I still don't think that's true, but I think it's possible. And
I think it's true because I was demonetized earlier this year for using some Norwegian news reused content.
That doesn't matter. How's that related?
Because I can see the statistics from when my channel was monetized early this year. The statistics were about 5 times higher, and then you see as soon as I'm demonetized, it goes. Blah, blah, blah,
yeah, but
blah.
also
there were a couple other factors for that. But
yes, one being that you stopped posting out of protest.
Yeah, I got really annoying.
You could see the numbers started to go down when I was demonetized and stopped posting.
Yeah. But, and also that bit of Norwegian news had like thousands of views, so that probably did fuck things up when they insisted I get rid of a bit of fucking Norwegian news. I still don't think that was a very nice thing to do, Norwegian fucking news.
Well. What are you going to do about it, Matt? That's the thing.
Nothing. A 3-minute clip of Norwegian news with some commentary on it. And they were like, oh, no, we don't like that.
But it wasn't really Norwegian news, was it? The Norwegians had taken it from the British news anyway, presumably, and claimed it as their own.
No, it was just an interview with Jens Stoltenberg, the head of NATO, in Norwegian. And so I put it up with, like, this is the description of what's being said. And Norwegian news, which is basically
How did you know what was being said?
I think I looked it up on Google Translate. And then they were like, no, we don't like it. And I was like, well, surely, like, you're not even putting it outside of Norway. That was what really bugged me about it, was that they have a specific policy not to put their Norwegian news, to not use it externally. And I was like, well, surely someone else then is allowed to use 3 minutes.
No one can know about our secret Norwegian ways.
Yeah, it's like if the BBC was like, well, let's make sure we do all this bit in Arabic, but don't send it to the Arabic countries.
Yeah, but I think, look...
No wonder you're not ruling the world anymore, Norway.
I did, yeah.
If you ever did.
Unlike us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so I thought there was enough of a reason, so I did monetize it. Even though I don't think it is true, I think it could be true. And we'll see. We'll see. If the numbers start to climb massively, then I guess it was right, because it certainly won't be because of the quality of this podcast.
You could have Googled it and just looked it up, whether that's true.
No, because nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Oh.
It's like Epstein.
Okay.
Google, well, it is Google. Google own YouTube, and they won't tell you. They won't tell you what they're doing.
Let's give little stickers to all the comments that we like to reward them. Norwegians, they're the worst.
Comments.
Right then. Comments.
We haven't done that for at least 2 weeks, so we're only going to do comments on the main videos like this, like the actual podcast, because people watch the other like clips and stuff and they don't know anything about the channel and they just say boring things. So we're going to stick with the main ones, right?
The hardcore.
And this is the video before last. I think it's called The Horrors of Starmer's Britain, a spooky Newscum. This is all the way back at Halloween. Do you remember Halloween, Matt?
Yeah, it's great.
You're so Stephen Fry. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
I'd love you to start.
Anyone want to guess the Morrissey bobsledding book title?
Where are you starting from?
From Daniel Laker 92. The one above that says, "Who is the Rich Evans of this podcast?" But I don't know who Rich Evans is.
I know you want to start at the bottom, down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a timestamp from Daniel Laker 92 and 1527, and it says, "This is the one thing we didn't want to happen," is a thing I quote on probably a weekly basis. Yeah, so that's from the day today, isn't it? This is the one thing we didn't want to happen. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, I recognize that. I understand that. Thank you very much. What a contribution. Very handy. We're all
come on, move on.
Okay, next one. Next one is Granddude77, who says good. I think so.
Granddude's been leaving us one-word reviews of late.
Yeah, he did a meh a few weeks ago, I noticed.
He said mid, but I thought that was this one.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, maybe he's changed it from meh or mid.
It doesn't say edited. Maybe delete that comment and
Dr. Rapperland says there must be records in the USA of the meeting that Starmer was at. Oh, this is to do with the meeting with the CIA to get
yes, we're okay.
Gary McKinnon.
No, I think it's to do with Julian Assange.
And Julian Assange, yeah.
Actually.
Okay, Weejock Poopong Plop says, why not put a link into Dr. Alford's YouTube channel in the video description?
All right, next comment.
Yeah, thank you, Weejock Poopong Plop. I seem to remember a couple of weeks ago that I actually put my link in as a reply to your message there, and then mysteriously it's disappeared. I wonder how and why that has happened.
Look, I'm not that petty. I think you're I think you're not able to put links in. It might have come up. It might either YouTube just blocks it entirely, or it comes up in the held comments, which I never check. And I'm sorry if it's in the held comments, and I should just say, then you go on, it says, do you want to keep this comment or not? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure. Daniel Laker 92 again posting says, anyone want to guess the Morrissey bobsledding book title? He says it's Some Girls Are Toboggan Than Others, would be my guess, but other answers are available.
That's pretty good. Daniel Laker has come up with some pretty good comments over the years. Can you come up with a Morrissey bobsledding book title, Matt?
What, off the top of my head at the end of a fucking podcast? No.
Just say something silly. Just think of a Morrissey song.
How soon is bobsleigh?
There we go. Take that, Daniel Laker. Right, next. Keep going.
After bobsleigh in a coma.
Yeah, girlfriend in a coma after nasty bobsleigh accident.
Reel around the ice rink.
That's pretty good. It's not about bobsleigh. I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be that guy, Matt, but it's not about bobsleighs, is it?
How soon is the bobsleighing competition?
I genuinely like that one.
Where's the next comment?
Because that would be such a good for the whole song. You say it's going to happen soon, but when exactly do you mean? I'm all dressed up in me bobsleighing gear, and I'm ready to rumble. Next one. Okay.
Well, it would be the answer to it as well would be the 1984 Moscow Cold Olympics, whatever it's called, Winter Olympics.
Why that
or the Cold Olympics, as I like to call it.
Dare I ask why that particular Winter Olympics?
Because that would have been around about the time of that the song came out.
Okay, who's the Rich Evans of this podcast?
Who is Rich Evans? Wasn't he a movie producer?
No, he's the third wheel. He's like the third mic on Red Letter Media, which somebody commented on last time, that our Film Scum episode was reminiscent of their ramblings. And it's a good question because we have spoken about a third mic before. I think initially we were trying to get Zelensky, but he's managed to keep his job, unbelievably. When we started this podcast, it looked like Zelensky was going to be out of a job very soon, but he still got it. If he does ever get kicked out, then he's always welcome as the third mic. Paul Greengrass springs to mind for some reason, as always. I don't know who could be the third mic. Morrissey. Be good to get Morrissey on the pod.
Yeah.
Alan Carr. Oh man, I love that Alan Carr. I really love that Alan Carr. Get Alan Carr on here.
Claudia Winkleman.
Javid Collinson.
Now that the channel is monetized, the world's an oyster.
Exactly. We can get top talent.
Javid Collinson says, you named the exact Brass Eye clip that was playing in my head on a loop when I saw the headlines about whoops, accidentally released a dangerous criminal. Where's he gone then? We need a party, let's call it the Revenge Party, with a platform to make Britain not shit anymore. I think that's a good idea. Key policies, keep the prison doors locked, pour the shit somewhere other than the rivers, create a rail network that can cope with mild changes in the weather. Javid Collinson, that's basically what my own policy has been for platform for the last 40 years.
That's what you ran on, isn't it?
Pretty much, actually, yeah. But also no war.
Yeah, that was the problem. You're too ambitious.
Yeah.
James Spitman. This episode was an absolute belter, and good to see the return of the classic Cope aesthetic in which the evil psychiatrist character does a Zoom welfare check on a nonchalant Edmund Kemper. 10 out of 10.
Wasn't Edmund Kemper a serial killer?
Yeah, I didn't actually know who he was, but I looked
with
him
a
up.
mustache.
He was a serial killer. Yeah, but he had hair. So I'm wondering, am I Edmund Kemper or you? Who's the evil psychiatrist? I'm not sure who's who in this. I don't think anyone comes out very well.
No. But thank you very much.
But it's very complimentary. Thank you. Spitman. All right, quickly, let's do the last one. This is from the last episode.
Dr. Rapperban says, yo, guys, extremely amused. Like to catch a live stream somewhere. Watching now. Old Scum.
Yeah, Old Scum. It's like a breakaway. The Old Scum community. I was thinking, Matt, maybe it's just too early to say since nobody really watches this podcast, and maybe the podcast will collapse any minute. But it would be good to do at least maybe one episode a month live. Nobody's going to watch it live because barely anyone watches it anyway. But it would also mean it would just instantly be on YouTube, so we wouldn't have to do any editing and stuff.
Yep, let's do that. Cruiseberg Giglio says, that jacket's the business. Thanks, Cruiseberg Biglio.
You remember the jacket, right, Matt?
Yeah, it's my pink one that's currently on the stairs. It's thank you very much.
Oh, this is where mid.
This is where Grand Dude starts to, he's undermining. He's saying mid for this particular one. And then there's intelligence failure. Do you really want to read this intelligence failure one? Because I tried to actually read this one about a week ago, and I couldn't understand it.
I've definitely read it at some point.
Yeah, it was hard to follow. I'm sorry, intelligence failure, but I really couldn't understand what you were saying.
Oh, yes, I think this is like a more elaborate conspiracy theory for why
than your one. That's yeah.
So you're lucky. I'm the gatekeeper, Matt. You know, I'm keeping the hounds at the door because these are crazy ideas. But I'm into it. You know, the point is, Matt, that we don't know, and I think what intelligence failure is saying, we're uncertain. And that can make some people nervous.
Yes.
That can make some insecure men nervous about things. Not me. I'm happy with uncertainty.
Good.
Are you happy?
Thrilled for you.
Are you happy with it?
I'm very happy. I don't need to think about that.
Are you certain that you're happy?
I'm pretty confident that I'm happy. Next one, John Yeo.
Oh, yeah, John Yeo. Yeo. He's your biggest fan. Yeo.
Yeah, okay. So John Yeo says I watched Theatres of War. That's my documentary. After you mentioned it, I found it very interesting to see so many examples collated together. I
mean, he liked it.
I've already replied to that. In detail.
And then Matt's gone on some thing. Very, very nice, jovial conversation with John. If only John and Matt had a podcast together, it would be such a nice. But they don't. He stuck with me. But what it does say, John Yo says it's a good documentary, and it is good, and everybody should go watch Theatres of War wherever it is. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere.
Vimeo.
Oh shit! I've gone on the thing. I've lost it. Where are we? Oh yeah.
Next one is Javid Collinson. The smaller one is unmonetisably clever, and I feel his pain. Well, Javid Collinson. Daniel Taylor, who I believe is the smaller one, is monetized. You could be raking in pounds by next month.
Oh yeah, he's so wrong. I'm monetizably clever. No, I read this and I felt like, do you know what this podcast is becoming? It's becoming a kind of group therapy session for downwardly mobile millennials. And you. The thing about you is you're actually by millennial standards, you're incredibly successful, but by your own standards of your generation, you're kind of you're in the sort of millennial sort of level. But I really don't like all of that. I was talking to my mum a few months ago, and she was like, when I was young, we didn't have all of these generational. It was like me and my brother were having a conversation about politics, and we were just constantly talking about Gen Z, millennial. And my mum was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, oh, and it is true that it used to be a sort of marketing campaign thing, right? That you would have these, and now it's become, this is how everybody looks at the world, is that there's some like arbitrary cutoff point at certain times, and the people below that are like this big demographic. I don't think it works. There's some broad things that
I like your mum. It's of course complete, absolute nonsense. I was about to swear there, but someone emailed me the other day saying unsubscribe.
Don't swear when my mum's involved.
Yeah. So Daniel's mum, I wholly agree with you. What a load of rubbish it is.
Dan's mum.
Dan's mum. It's obviously the case, isn't it? Like, I didn't know what generation I was in until I was 40 something, because it just
that's a classic Generation X thing to not know.
Yeah, exactly.
Which generation you're in until you're 40.
But when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh yeah, so that's why in like 1997 the Spice Girls did a Pepsi advert that said Generation X, because we're Generation X.
Finally, then you went, I might go get a Pepsi now.
Yeah,
20 years too late. I mean, there is something to be said for it though. There was a peak in like births after the war, the baby boomer generation, and that is such a large amount of people in a certain age range that have sort of dominated.
Yeah, I guess there is some value to it, but it's not very scientific, is it?
No, but it's very, very big. But the thing is that the Generation X are a smaller generation because they're the children of people before the baby boomers generally, and like the very beginning of the baby boomer generation. The millennials is a bigger cohort because that's the children. It's not as big as the baby boomers, but it's bigger because it's the children of a bigger generation of people. That makes sense. You've got a wave of people coming through, and that wave of people are then having kids. They're going to have more kids. But then on the flip side to that, people are having less kids anyway, so I'm not entirely sure how it works out. God.
The bigger one is also deceptively intelligent, holding high cards tight to his chest as he behaves with Joker. Speaking of which, the Joker and Joker 2 are the only great Batman films, and Christopher Nolan is deceptively stupid and very monetizably so. Anyway, I hope your self-esteem is boosted by this comment. I write these 90% sober, rough average. Clap,
Thank
clap.
you. Yes.
Thank you, Javid Collinson. That's a great comment.
I haven't seen Joker 2. Have you?
It was on telly the other day, and I watched bits of it. It was a bit of a hard watch, but Quentin Tarantino said it was his favorite movie, wasn't it? Next one is Joe.
Jacob Hario. He is the
Jacob Hario. Sorry, Jake.
OG guy.
Yeah, he is the OG. That's why I was particularly annoyed that I managed to misread it. He says, P.S. Within its niche, this podcast is unsurpassed. Thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking that's another. It's like, absolutely agree with that. The question is, what is the niche? That's what we need to find out. Once we know what the niche is, we'll be running. We're cooking with gas.
Oh, Dr. Rapper Band again says, yo guys, extremely amused. Like to catch a live stream somehow. Watching now, old scum. Oh,
wasn't that on the last one? Is he just?
That was on the last one. He's just repeated
Is this a bot? Is Just a Russian bot.
Yes, that's what we need. Some nice bots. And Jay says again, by the way, you two should please do a deep dive into the Ruth Smeeth-Mark Wadsworth affair. One of the most egregious examples of full court press propaganda by the entire media and political establishment I've experienced.
Yeah.
And probably one of the events that did the most to radicalize me. If you pull on that thread, then a lot starts to unravel.
Who wants to pull on the threads? We don't pull on threads around here, lad. We'll just let threads be. Yeah, I agree.
That does sound interesting.
I think we should do that. Daniel Laker, then look at this. Yes. Daniel Laker, he stepped up and he did the whatever these are called, and then
timestamps, and he's done them really well as well. Because I started to do the timestamps, and I was just like, oh, I don't even know what.
Started and he gave up. What a fucking surprise! So he's done it, and I copied it and I put it in. That's brilliant. That's how you get things done, Matt. Yeah, when you're not involved. That's how things.
Yes, exactly, and we really appreciate that, don't we, Dan?
We've only got 10 minutes left of this one. Yeah, no. Thanks,
oh my God,
Daniel.
The jacket's the business. Thank you for the video.
How is that in this one as well? This doesn't make sense. What's going on?
I think that's enough comments for today.
We've only got 2 more. Thank you for this video. I have never seen The Pandemic, but I did live through Tenet, crazy film. This is a good one by Daniel Laker. 11 stabbed on a train, 6 of them accidentally stabbed by the police. Ending on a lighter note.
Nice one. Yeah. Very good, very good. Righty ho. Well, good to see you all. Don't forget to thingy and
do the thingy. Everybody, thingy.
We'll be back soon.